since Pentecost is on that day.
Yeah, I think it was Pentecost I was talking
yeah.
about.
And also, since he met with them, because remember he met with them again another time.
His disciples?
On the same day, Sunday. Remember when he came to Thomas and all that, right?
You mean when he just came from out of the grave?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They call it like the special day. They call it the Lord's Day.
But they actually skip over 2 days. Like if Jesus died on a Friday and the people wanted to hurry up carry his body to the grave before sunset, what does that tell you? If God himself allows the people to want to bury Jesus before sunset, that should just show you. And plus Jesus rested on the Sabbath while he was dead. He died on Friday, rested on Sabbath, and resurrected on Sunday. You have something to say?
Yes, I understand.
But what time?
You want to say something?
There was something. One other point, right? That word Sabbath actually means the word we have for rest, right? In Hebrew, that would be Sabbath. Yes. Like, for example, when it says in Genesis,
and then they want to change it to Saturday.
Yeah. In Genesis 2, where it says God rested on the seventh day, rested is actually the word Shabbat.
Yeah.
So like in that verse, when they said the Sabbath day, they would have meant like the rest days.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what I was going to say too. We have Sabbath days in a certain sense too, you know. Not like exact Sabbath days, but when we have holidays, we have like a Sabbath day, a rest day, not like a sacred day, but like a holiday. Or
That's
something.
why some people say their Sabbath is Sunday. Like
because they take it to that verse and they say that's their Sabbath, so let no man judge you on your Sabbath days. So they say that Sunday is their Sabbath, so that's my day. So you can't judge me on what day I go to church on.
And the reason they're breaking olive bread is to remember God. And I have a verse at Luke 22 verse 19. And he took bread and gave thanks and brake it and gave it unto them, saying, This is my body, which is given for you. This do in remembrance of me.
And basically mean the remembrance of the 7-day Sabbath.
Now, notice.
Notes, it's not remembrance of the 7-day Sabbath. And we could read it again in Luke 22 verse 19. And he took bread and gave thanks and brake it, and gave unto them, saying, This is my body which is given for you. This do in remembrance of me.
So like it's in remembrance of Jesus and his life?
Yeah.
I may be wrong, but he says as oft as he do it. They did it every day. That was, what I'm trying to say is that you can do it as often as you want. Is that?
I don't know if they have like a specific day when they doing it in church, but I'm not sure about the as often as you want. I wouldn't want to say yes or no on that because I'm not sure about that. Probably have to do a research on that one and say next week. But something Michael had said, oh yeah, when people be like, this is their Sabbath or whatever, most of the times most Sunday keepers, and they say they go to church on Sabbath, and they call Sunday the Sabbath. They don't even rest on that day. They go to a wash house. They go to the shop. They go grocery shopping. They do all their chores, all their work and everything. If you want to keep Sunday and say it's your Sabbath, then why aren't you resting on that day?
And they'll tell you, it's my life. You don't judge my life.
And then I'll say it is in your life because God made you. You didn't just poof here or Satan made you. If Satan made you, then I guess you could say it's your life because Satan doesn't really matter. Even though it still wouldn't really be your life, it would be Satan's life. But then if you go on according to what Satan's saying, then you live in a life of Satan. But then you can't say, oh, it's your life. God made you and he said to worship on this particular day. And a note that I made said, Jesus never changes, so why would he say this in Mark 2 verse 27 to 28 if the laws are done away with? Matthew, Mark chapter 2. Chapter 2 verse 27 to 28. And he said unto them, the Sabbath was made for man, and not man for the Sabbath. Therefore the Son of Man is Lord also of the Sabbath. Oh, I also see something here. This is in PK of Ellen G. White. I don't really know what that stands for. PK, Prophet of Kings. Prophet and Kings, page 183. Christ, during his earthly ministry, emphasized the binding claims of the Sabbath. In all his teaching, he showed reverence for the institution he himself had given. In his days, the Sabbath had become so perverted that its observance reflected the character of selfish and arbitrary men rather than the character of God. They probably just trying to sleep or something. Christ set aside the false teaching by which those who claimed to know God had misrepresented him.
I think that some people just get it. It's like, usually they just get it wrong. Either they rest too much or they work too much. It usually has to be balanced.
Yeah.
You can't just sleep in all day and not go to church.
And then you can't just be working. Well, you shouldn't be working at all, but you should, if you want to sleep, if you get really tired, sleep for an hour, but then still try and study God's word. Because some people really think when they say Sabbath, rest, they just eat and then go to sleep, right after church, and then that's it. And they just can't wait until sunset. But then it shouldn't be like that. You should enjoy the Sabbath, and then you should, and if you think it's boring or something, just go to have a Bible study. If you need to interact with people, try and learn more. You could knock on doors, give out pamphlets, tell people about God. You could go witnessing. You could go to old folks' home. You could go to the children's home, read them the Bible, sing to them. You could do many different things. You could do Bible games like charades or Bible board games, but
Sword, the Bible game sword.
Swords. Sorry, not charades. Swords. That's when you get the Bible and then you could find the chapters and stuff. And then you could do many different things, so it wouldn't be so-called boring. Because I never saw in the Bible where the apostles so boring today. They were preaching, and then preaching to them was fun. So you could find something that you could find fun, like YNWC. We could do this on Sabbath, and then it'll be even more fun.
And it's not like you have to rest. Rest. If you see this bug on the ground and you just want to move it, you're saying I can't move it because it's a Sabbath.
Yeah.
That'd be doing work.
No. Yeah, you can't.
No,
yeah.
But they'll be they'll say themselves they'll be doing work.
Yeah.
I believe that some people think that the Sabbath doesn't apply to them because they're oh, that doesn't apply to me because that rule was set so long ago. the Ten
Yeah.
Commandment doesn't apply, because I've heard a lot of people
Yeah,
say this.
but then
And-
they say
and
the,
they're
they say
saying-
the rules doesn't apply to them. By rules,
And
they
they're
just
saying-
mean the Sabbath.
and
But
they're
if you
saying-
steal their car right now, they get all mad.
And
So you're
they're
like,
saying
why are
that-
you mad?
And they're
Because-
saying
Yeah.
that it's like the New Testament. They're
Yeah.
New Testament Christians. They don't.
They just want to
don't-
take out
they
one law.
only, They only love God and love man, but they
Yeah,
don't. But they don't know that the whole commandments, like the first 4 commandments, are for you to love God. That put them all together is pretty much loving God, and the last 6 will be pretty much loving your fellow man.
yeah. And you can't just like. I don't understand how people try to take out one like a lot of people nowadays actually know that Saturday is the true Sabbath, but then they just want to take out one command. They be like, the laws are nailed to the cross. The laws weren't nailed to the cross. Like I heard someone say before, if the laws were made out of stone, how could you nail stone to wood, like the tree bark?
Actually,
Yeah.
do you know that what you gonna say?
No.
You could,
I think in some ways you can like nail like a rock to a tree. Well, not like literally, but it has to be like a flat rock, and you have to do it in the middle, but not too much pressure.
But then,
It-
basing on how the laws
It'll
look,
pretty much just
So it's
take a little bit.
yeah, it
point
was
is,
thick.
like, do you know that the cross actually proves that the Sabbath could not be nailed to the cross or the commandments?
How?
Because see, God has a law, man broke it. Now he can change that law a little bit to make them so that it could be so everyone could be like saved and all that. But he didn't change the law. Instead he sent Jesus had to go to the cross to die so that the law and man could be in peace.
And the Sabbath law wasn't really nailed to the cross. It was really like the ceremonial laws.
Yeah. Like the laws of the
like-
sanctuary, because
Like Pentecost and stuff like
because
that.
like after Jesus died, there's no more need for the earthly sanctuary, because like they're just killing lambs to get rid of their sins. But then since Jesus died, you could just go directly to Him by praying and not having to slice lambs. Because if Jesus didn't die, then up to this day we would still have to be doing the sanctuary, cutting lambs to get rid of our sins. But then since Jesus died, we have like an easier way now.
And a lot of people sin nowadays, so it would be like pointless for them to just keep slaughtering lambs over and over. Oops, I did another sin, kill a lamb. Oops, another sin, kill a lamb.
Lambs would probably go extinct by
Yes.
now.
Because that's a lot of lambs.
7 billion.
Yeah, because
7 billion people. Yeah.
in the camp, there was a lot of people. I forgot how much.
And you have to
like-
get the spotless,
There was like,
clean new lamb.
And I forgot how
And
much.
there
it
was,
cost.
like,
People would
maybe-
start fighting over lambs.
and there was like maybe
Yeah.
2 to maybe 3 million Jewish men
Yeah.
alone, and not counting the children and the
And
wives.
wives. Yeah.
I forgot what I was going to say. When I was younger in lower grade, I remember one of my teachers telling me that the 10 Commandments doesn't apply to her because it was only for the Jews, and I was like, that doesn't make any sense. Because if that only applies to the Jews, that only means that only Jews can go to heaven. Because if you don't follow the 10 Commandments and worship God and stuff like that, you're not going to heaven. I was like, I almost got in trouble for questioning her theory on that only the Jews can follow the 10 Commandments. I wanted to ask her, so you're saying that the 10 Commandments tell you not to steal. I wanted to ask her, so you're telling me that I could go outside and just take your car? I wanted to ask her that but she looked like she was ready to get like super angry, and she was one of those teachers too quick to give detention. So
And
I finished my my argument with her, so I just left her with what she wanted to believe.